Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say welcome to everyone, and just quick, before I start, I just want to say restrooms and toilets is on the right-hand side. It's on the bathrooms on that side. If you want food and drinks, they're actually going to bring some of the food here as well. So basically what we will do today is two things. So I'll do a quick introduction and then set the scene talking about operationalizing AI, IoT, and it's also in the context of exactly the topic today, which is about opportunities and pitfalls of machine learning AI. So I'm going to talk about that, just set the scene. And we're going to use some of those slides as discussion points for a panel. So we've got a panel here, so we're going to introduce the panel, looking forward to that side, and we're going to keep it very interactive. Even the first section, when I do my talk, welcome to ask questions. Let's keep it very interactive and talk about it. We want to make sure you get the most out of this as well. There will be time to network afterwards as well. So without further ado, I'm going to quickly start. So the picture that I'm showing here is great. This is our first event that we're having here at Waterfall. Obviously, it's a new building, and it's a nice building, as you can see, impressive building. This particular photo, it was actually not here, but it was actually the venue in Cape Town at PwC as well. So you'll see PwC in the background. You don't see Table Mountain, you see some clouds there. We need rain, but this was last year, and it was an awesome event. It was about 100 plus people there as well, and a fantastic setup. But so we've got this waterfall flavor, so I've got the building on the right hand side. Quickly, in terms of sponsors, so I want to thank PwC and specifically Jacques Ludik, who's been awesome in organizing the event. We were here last week and talking about things and brainstorming and stuff. And he's got his colleague Alistair here as well. That, what do you call that? Well, that's your illustration or logo, or what is that for robotic process automation? Yeah. Anyway, so that is Alistair's background. He's from PwC, and he's also going to be on the panel, and we'll touch on that as well. Talk about why is it robotic. Anyway, it sounds very AI-ish. Anyway, so thank you very much for PwC. And so, without further ado, I want to quickly just do an intro to MIIA very quickly. Who has joined previous MIIA events? Awesome. So we've got a lot of new people here, which is always great. So most welcome. So what I would like to do, so I just want to quickly show the website. And the reason for that is there is a ton of information there, video presentations, and what we do as MIIA. We're a community where we're interested in building the ecosystem and partnering with many other companies, organizations, commercial partners that's interested in building this ecosystem. And it's all about transforming Africa through smart technology, through AI, machine learning, etc. So what you would find on this particular website, I'm actually showing the events page. If you go to the event, so if you go to MIIA, this is, I'm sorry, please go back. I'm not sure if I'm not connected to the internet anymore. So on this particular one, you will see a bit more details about the activities that we had and some upcoming events. So, but if I just scroll down here, you will, for instance, see a bunch of links. So if I go, for instance, to the deep learning blog, we're going to update this. There's going to be some communications going through. But if you go to these pages, you will see video links, presentation links, where we share everything and make it available. So there's some really cool material, and it is pretty much material that's been presented at all these kind of events. So most welcome to go there. Okay, so that was that. We're not connected to the internet, so that's cool. So let's get back to the presentation. In full screen mode. Okay, so MIIA, Machine Intelligence Institute of Africa. What we are doing, just to give testimony to how we collaborate, you'll see a bunch of partners there, and the companies that we are listing there is companies that is not only sponsored, but has really helped build the community as well. So just to give an example, IBM we had an awesome hackathon last year. All the stuff about the hackathon is presented on the website as well. But they sponsored a whole day event around that. We actually had this in Johannesburg, and it was incredibly successful. And it was actually right after the deep learning in Indaba. Who was at the deep learning in Indaba at Wits University last year? Jade? Owens was there? Okay. So there was about 300 deep learning practitioners, and it's like machine learning people. There were some companies represented. And we're going to have another event like this, but in Stellenbosch University, where there's going to be 600 people. That same week, we're also having an AI Expo as well. And there's a bunch of AI events and stuff happening here, which is really exciting because it's all helping to build this data science AI community in Africa. But anyway, so you will also notice Data Science Nigeria. We're hooking up with those organizations as well, and they are inspirational in terms of what they're what they're building there. Anyway, so there's more details on the website about all of this. And this is just showing the growth path of events, and we actually need to populate this with a lot more events that happened and is happening in the next few months. So just watch the events page or the website for more activities. So just wanted to mention that briefly. Okay, so as I've mentioned, a big part of today is going to be interactive panel discussion. I'm going to ask some questions. We're going to have Harry also asking questions, but we want to also open it up to the audience. If you think about data science, machine learning, it doesn't need to be just technical. It's about the applications. It's about what's the opportunities. We can pitch it on multiple different types of levels as well. So, but here are some of the speakers. I don't think we've got, I don't see Carol here, but we've got pretty much all the other speakers are here. So we will introduce them when we start that section of the presentation. Okay, so I don't want to talk too much about me specifically. What I would actually wanted to quickly say before I start here is my personal massive transformative purpose around business and non-profits is really around shaping a better future in the smart technology era. And that is pretty much to the heart of what the Machine Intelligence Institute of Africa is all about. It's transforming Africa. We don't want Africa to be left behind. It's very important that we network. We need everybody to collaborate. We need businesses to collaborate. We need to compete internationally. We need to create new jobs around smart technology. Incredible challenges for all of us. So the people in the room here, other people that you're connected with, I think it's very, very important that we collaborate as much as we can. So this is what it's about. I also, I've got this non-profit act, but I obviously also into business. So I've got a company called Cortex Logic, and Con Bruce is also from Cortex Logic, representing Cortex Logic as well. And we are an AI engine for platform businesses and corporates. and I'll just reference that as an illustration of building end-to-end solutions and operationalizing IoT, AI, IoT, and big data analytics. So I'll use a little bit of that. And I'm sure when we get to the panel discussion, we've got Retro Rabbit, they're also involved in analytics, and we've got other companies, and Russian doing great mathematics. He's a true mathematician, by the way, you have to see his papers. So he's going to be in the panel. But we're going to talk all about these type of things. Just quickly about, so I think let's continue there. So I just want to start this, and since not a lot of you have seen some of our presentations, some of my talks around these kind of things, I normally start here with what is the smart technology era, and it's all about the fourth industrial revolution. Who has not heard about the fourth industrial revolution? Okay, everybody knows about it. Even Cyril in his speech talked about the fourth industrial revolution. Cyril Ramaphosa. Unless you know other Cyrils as well, it's well known. But really, what's fascinating here, and I think every business realizes they are being disrupted. And even consulting, even PwC is changing the game because they realize there's more opportunities. We've got joint business relationships with PwC. There is other types of companies, the corporates, that realize there's niche, there's competitors coming in. So there's new platform businesses like the Ubers, the Airbnbs. You get those kind of niche companies in the financial services, healthcare, etc. So it becomes very competitive. You don't know where the competition is. It's coming from all sides. It might be a Google or Facebook, might be a competition on multiple levels that might get into healthcare or other things as well. So banking, all sorts of things. So if I just remember some of the work we do with Exoro, they've got, for instance, the business of tomorrow, thinking about renewable energy and other things as well, water, wastewater, and I think everybody realizes this. And even ESCOM is represented here. ESCOM must be thinking about this as well going forward. How do we monetize data? How do we optimize? How do we utilize the digital tools, the smart technologies that's available? But what's quite interesting, I think it will fundamentally alter the way we live, work, and relate to one another. We see this also even with data privacy becoming a massive thing as well. In Facebook, you see what's happening in Europe around data privacy, and you see it's almost like this thing is like just entering everywhere. It's actually amazing. But if you think about the fourth industrial revolution, it's actually the fusion of a bunch of new technologies. I've got one slide that shows it's like biotech, it's blockchain, it's all these other types of technologies and the interplay of that with AI and smart technology, and AI becoming the new electricity, as Andrew Inch is mentioning as well. So, but really, it's a fusion of new technologies, and it's blurring the lines between the physical, digital, and biological worlds, and it's really impacting all disciplines, economies, and industries. Now, and here we're just showing some examples around discovering new drugs. And I did a presentation at the Biomedical Engineering, South African Biomedical Engineering Applications Conference. And it was fascinating for me because I'm busy with healthcare, but I had to just look around the globe in terms of all the biomedical engineering applications where deep learning is being applied. We're talking about opportunities here. Just give you an example, a drug, to develop a drug is something on average like $2.6 billion, and it takes about 10 years to develop a drug. And what they try to do with deep learning is spot opportunities now, where you can really short circuit that, you can cut those costs. Similar to Elon Musk cutting costs of reusable rockets and stuff like that. There's great opportunities to use smart technology, deep learning, to actually make a big difference there. So that's another big thing, discovering new drugs. But as you know, software that translate and invest, you see virtual assistants, drones, self-driving cars. And I think what's happening here is this machine learning AI toolbox has been expanded to such an extent that we can create really viable, sensible solutions on the human-computer interface, as we've seen now. I don't know who has used Google Talk to Books. I don't know who's seen it. Try it out. Go to Google, talk to books as well. So they've got something like 100,000 opens. I don't know how many books they've got there. You type in a query, say smart manufacturing, and it pops up. It actually goes through all the books, I think, all the sentences in like just 1 second.
Yeah, and so it replies to your query. Like any question that you ask, just like Google search, it will give you answers from those books.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can just try that. But and you will see some impressive stuff in terms of human-computer interface. But for me, the great thing is, in the 2000s, even before, we had this traditional, typical machine learning, statistical techniques, and hidden Markov models, and all this stuff that's very powerful. And we've unlocked tremendous value with those type of technologies during that time. But with unstructured data like text, video, audio, incredible opportunities. IoT is bringing so much data. There's a I don't have that slide, but it's literally, if you look at data generation, it's going on an exponential curve. Data utilization is going up all the time, and we need a lot of companies to embrace it properly. But it's going up, but that gap is still increasing. So when we talk about opportunities and pitfalls, but opportunities specifically, incredible opportunities, and especially if you think about IoT in healthcare, retail, so many different spaces, it provides an opportunity to provide a lot more data about consumers, users, you can instrument your whole business, your whole value chain. And it's incredibly exciting. So we've got opportunities. The amount of data being generated is incredible. Okay, so and this is really what's happening. It's the speed of technology change in the smart technology era. And it's quite interesting because if you think about, as humans, we experience time in a linear fashion. And that's why we're kind of surprised sometimes to see, wow, this breakthroughs. If you look at AlphaGo, AlphaZero, expecting only those kind of breakthroughs maybe in 10 years or 20 years time, but so those type of things happened. And if you think about the details around that, it was kind of an engineering exercise. It was using deep reinforcement learning with Monte Carlo search, and it's a combination of algorithms and machine learning, and just engineered properly, and you get superhuman performance. And so you'll see a lot of those type of things going forward, which is pretty exciting. But I think it's the combination of technology. So it's back to us humans to actually create fantastic, you should be creative and create solutions. So, yes. Oh, sorry. Let's get to myself. Okay, so AI is new electricity, and from Salesforce, the artificial intelligence revolution is here. We see that the Googles and the Facebooks, we'll talk about AI first. Microsoft as well. So trying to take advantage of that. So for people that's not that familiar with the technical things, you've probably seen this on many publications and stuff, but this is, if you think about AI versus machine learning versus deep learning, very simply, AI is really, it's really a branch of computer science that develops machines and software with intelligence. If you think about machine learning, which is really a branch of AI, again, that's really focused on systems that learn from data. Well, that's machine learning. It's learning from data, so it's data-driven. And then you get a subset from that, and that caused a lot of the breakthroughs that we've seen since 2010 to 11, 12, was deep learning, where obviously we've got the data, we've got the computational power, and we've got some really smart tricks around dealing with multiple deep layers like, Owens, what is the biggest neural net that you've built so far? How many layers?
170.
170. So, and then the gradient, for people that's more technical, if you think about the gradient vanishing type of problems that you get, there's all sorts of things to fix that. There's all sorts of different connections. So there's all sorts of tricks around those type of things as well. But the stuff you can do with this, amazing. We're going to talk about that. Just worldwide AI revenue growth, there's estimates 40 billion, between 40 billion and 100 billion market by 2025. And I think this slide I always also show, and it's basically just, if you think about the AI landscape, this was done by Bloomberg Vita in 2015, and since then there was 3 different other versions that's even heavily populated. But the message here, you see a bunch of startups and companies, AI companies, that's focusing on rethinking enterprise, sales, security, fraud, HR, marketing, business, etc., and also industries. So all these different industries, agriculture, education, finance, talk about opportunities. There's opportunities to create solutions there. And even rethinking human-computer interfacing. So you get all of that. This is the Machine Learning 3.0 version. Okay, so all I want to say about this one particular, I think there's fundamental changes happening simultaneously. People talk about software eating the world. There's almost like this intelligent software is eating software. It's becoming primary driver. And we also talk about, when we talk about the Internet of Things, the true value of the Internet of Things is unlocked with AI, effectively. We talk about smart IoT or cognitive IoT, and I've got some slides on that as well. But what's also interesting, we talk about this fusion of technologies. The last bullet here says AI DAOs and decentralized autonomous organizations. So I know we've got Project Ubu people here as well. There's a few people in blockchain as well, but what this is about is like AI-driven smart contracts, and which is very interesting. So that kind of fusion of technologies brings very interesting applications to the fore, so which is very exciting. Okay, so now I just want to lay the foundation before we get the panelists here. So I've got a few slides just talking about very specific things around opportunities, more things about opportunities. And I think if you think about business, there's obviously problems in Africa. If you look at MIIA, problems in Africa, we list a bunch of African problems that we can help solve with smart technology. But if you think about business, the opportunities are immense. The toolbox are incredibly rich. It's more like people standing in the way of the potential to unlock. So if you look at example value drivers, it's obviously things like increasing operational efficiency, effectiveness and revenue. And there's unbelievable opportunities to get your productivity up, reduce risk on multiple levels, and get your revenue up and lower your costs. And I've listed there a bunch of things there in that block. Then there is plenty of opportunity, and you will see this with new platform businesses coming to the fore, to monetize data as well. So everybody realizes, a lot of companies realize their data is actually very, quite important and valuable as well. Data is like the new gold. And I think there's opportunities to create strategic value. Maybe you change your business model. Maybe you can actually change into a different type of business. And it's almost helping you to be a lot more flexible in addressing competitors as well. Anyway, so there's a few things listed there. New business models, new revenue growth opportunities, etc. But then if you think about customer-facing businesses, and there's a lot of, most industries are customer-facing as well. And I think that the opportunity there is to enhance that customer experience and also to create targeted sales and marketing, to create a true 360-degree view of your customers. And I think it's all about then what's possible here, especially with IoT and intelligent virtual assistants, is real-time, on-demand, digital, personalized service delivery and assistance. And you can provide advice and all sorts of things. And if you plug into the systems, you can get that information and make it available. We've got examples. I've got actually an app here, a Bennett app here for manufacturing that can dig into a knowledge base of manufacturing knowledge that's not necessarily available on the internet, and it provides that, make that knowledge base available to individuals. But there's plenty of opportunity within companies. If you just search, like you search Google, and you want to get to documents, those type of things are all absolutely possible. Okay, so just quickly to make it real, what we specifically do for us is to focus really on not just doing offline model or consultation or stuff. It's all about thinking about those business KPI drivers that I've just talked about. And is what do we need to put in place to actually create an end-to-end solution around this? And you need a rock-solid data foundation. So enabling the smart data for automated AI is critical. And you need rapid access to all the data in one place. If you have that, you can now start thinking about automating data preparation, automating the machine learning models, creating real-time machine learning models. And what you need to do is to integrate that into the business, into the omni-channel, into intelligent virtual assistants, into workflows. If you're in the industrial space, you think about ESCOM, you think about minerals, metals, mining space, it's obviously things like advanced process control. It's things like very prescriptive analytics. If there's problems in your process or piece of equipment, or there's maybe specific things that you want to do around predictive maintenance and you want to advise the maintenance team, there's plenty of opportunities where you bring that into the workflow, make it available on an app or wherever, and make sure that the business and the people is getting that. So you create this kind of end-to-end type of solution. But what's really cool as well, we talk about instrumentation. If you think about, say, intelligent virtual assistants, and you interface with your customers, that sentiment analysis and all that information that you gather is not only about the customer experience, it's actually taking that information and feeding that back to the data lake, improving your models. You've got now more data about the customer, and you can tailor things more specific to the customer, getting better personalized services. So incredible opportunities. So the way I've broken it up here is really, there's so much you can do around optimizing the business. You can instrument the whole business. And we're actually working with the beers as one of the customers where there's opportunities where you look at the whole business and you can instrument almost everything, even people. Obviously, this thing is providing quite a bit of information, but you can do all of that. And then, obviously, around customers, growing that customer base. If you think about your employees are valuable. We've got a platform business called the Talent Index that's really focused on employee life cycle, resignation risk, health, all sorts of risk, and also the idea is to actually support the employee, to be kind of more aware of how you can empower the employee to be more productive as well. So plenty of opportunities around those type of things as well. And then obviously smart systems. If you think about fraud, cybersecurity solutions, IoT solutions, all of that fits in there. Okay, so I'm going to skip that. So now we're going to talk about this in a panel discussion, but I think when we think about opportunities and pitfalls, and I've laid kind of a foundation just talking about the opportunities clearly lie with the data that's available and the business problems that we can solve. So I think on a high level, I showed that slide earlier on, but it starts with business value drivers. And I think quick wins in demonstration of value to those business drivers are very important, those KPIs. And you want to make sure you can operationalize. You need to make it real, specific. So that's very important. And there's also very specific things around that AI journey. How do you start that? How do you do that? And what I have on this side here is just now, if you think about any organization, you want to think, am I mature enough? How do I actually do this? So we can come in and you can actually, the IDC, the Industrial Data Corporation, it's got a big data analytics AI framework that we also use that looks at 5 things. The strategy, the intent, the technology, the processes, data, and people. And what we have here is an example of, this is x-axis time on the x-axis. And what we are saying is if you want to accelerate, you want to actually get earlier the value generation from data. You see those 5 pillars? Well, it's pretty much represented here. And it's just showing, if you bring all of those things together, you can really start accelerating. And the cool thing is you can actually measure this from an ad hoc state to an optimized state for each part of it. So you can be very deliberate around measuring your progress around this. Okay, so this is just showing that again, so I'll stop that. Then the other things that I want to say, there are, I think, creating the best environment for top talent and collaborative innovation. That's another thing, collaborative innovation. If you want to move quickly, what a lot of companies are doing, they are partnering. And partnering with AI partners, partnering with IoT providers, all sorts of to help them move quicker. But if you want to cultivate the best environment, you want to make sure you've got the richest data in your sector. You want to obviously have the executive spotlight on this. And you want state-of-the-art data platforms and tools. If you think about the ecosystem, Google's got great stuff with TensorFlow, there's PyTorch, there's so many open source platforms available that you can work with. And then obviously if you think about the team that can provide end-to-end solutions, I've just listed, you need your data engineers and data architects and BI people and AI and machine learning and software developers to create those kind of solutions. Okay. I'm going to just do this, and then I'm actually going to get the panel here because we can actually talk to these kind of things, so we can frame it differently and make questions and open it up. So what's the time? Yeah, so let's do that. So I'm going to end with this particular one. It's talks about new opportunities with AI, machine learning, IoT, big data analytics, and it's showing 5 ways you can create new opportunities. And it actually speaks to the things that I've already mentioned. New business models, real-time information on mission-critical systems. That's possible now with IoT and AI on top. The diversification of revenue streams, I've talked about that. Global visibility, efficient, intelligent operations. Well, that's all stuff that's possible. Okay, I think without further ado, let's get to, because I'll use some of those slides. I just want to quickly introduce the panel. Yeah,